Hi, myself Naveen. A brief demonstration on Denodo and its feature. In this demo, let us understand few of the topics under data visualization. Overview of data visualization, key features of data visualization, why Denodo, installation setup, how to establish a database connection and create data ports, creating view, creating REST or SOAP service for DML operation, connecting to heterogeneous databases, creating view on heterogeneous database objects, invoking REST or SOAP service from .NET, how to create a call to store procedure, invoking store REST or SOAP service from .NET for database store procedure. So let us understand what is data visualization layer. A layer which integrates data from different sources, location, and different format without replicating the data to create a single virtual data layer that delivers unified data service to multiple application and users. The capabilities of data visualization are it has its own data governance and security feature. Also, the data can be logically abstracted and decoupled. Semantic integration of structured and unstructured data can be achieved. Agile data service provisioning and data federation. So basically, if we have heterogeneous different source of data and which is lying in different locations and in different various formats, how do we integrate under a single layer so that we can be exposed to end application to consume it? So in today's world, when we have servers lying in different locations, in different formats, how do we bring it under one layer? And Denodo as a platform helps us achieve it in a very simpler way. So in data visualization for Denodo, how can we achieve? There are few simple steps through which we can achieve this. As they say, there are few three steps through which we can achieve this feature. Connect and virtualize any source, combine and integrate into business data views, publish and secure data service. Let us understand in deep what each activity is performed under the category mentioned. So the architecture as such is very simple. A data in Denodo platform is in between a database source and end application. So as we talk, connect, combine, and publish are the three activities we'll be performing in Denodo layer to create the objects. And as Denodo as a tool, it gives a lot of other benefits and features to manage these objects we are creating under Denodo. So it has something called a security feature, metadata, governance, monitoring, optimizer, cache, scheduler. And this comes in between the data, different data sources we have. It can be any data source from a structured to an unstructured data sources, and this can be consumed by multiple applications. So let's understand the installation steps for installing Denodo. It's pretty simple. Download the application mentioned. Download the application from Denodo website. The Express edition comes with a zip file, and it has a executable file which once executed the application is installed on your install. So once we have installed the application, we need to install the license key, which is available in the folder, the downloader folder. So let me go to the application and show you how we can achieve rest of the features what we highlighted. Let me launch the Denodo server and the administration tool. So once we launch the application, we have something called as the VDP. VDP is nothing but virtual data pool. Once we click on that, we get two options. The server, the virtual data port server has to be launched. I'm going to start it. Okay, and let me open the administration tool. Administration tool is one where we are going to create all the web services required for the data, data visualization. So once I connect giving the credentials, I need credentials. Okay, so let me go and understand what. Let's see step by step what we need to achieve. So we have completed installation steps. Now I will show you how to create a database connection using data visual points. So once we have created, go to file, new and data source. Under that we can use any of the sources. I am going to use the JDBC connectivity, and I am going to create the database connection. So already I have a connectivity which I have established for MySQL. So once we go to start new and data source and JDBC connection, this window will open up where we can give a connection name and we can choose the database to which we need to connect. For this purpose I used MySQL, and then the driver. This driver can be installed, downloaded and installed for each of the databases we choose, and then in the database URI we give the server name, the port, and the database, and the connection credential to connect to the database, and click on OK. The connection is established. Once a connection is established, it will list out all the databases which is under that particular server. So now we have seen how to connect to databases. Let us see how to create view. So once I have established the connection, go to create a view, go to file, new, and you can choose any uh, one of the options required. In this scenario, to demonstrate, I use a join. Basically, how to create a view. And I'm going to drag and drop the objects required. Here I have two objects, customer and customer type, and I can establish the connection mapping between the objects, the relationship, and then there are few set of options available. The joins, that is what we have created. I can add new conditions, I can add if required and output. What are the output and the names for each one? And now I'm going to give a name for this view. I'll say now. I can execute and see what will be the output of this one, and I can save this particular view. Once I created a view, there are few more options available. VLQ, Visual Data Language, how the query is the script for this query, and then advanced properties tree view. Tree view will show how the relationship is established. And then I need to publish this object. So I can publish this object in two methods, two ways. One is through a RESTful web service or through a SOAP request. So I'll choose a web service, and once I create it, I need to publish this. The next step is publish. So here I need to deploy this particular object. Once I deploy, I get the path where it is deployed. So copy this path and then go to the browser where the Denodo objects will be published. I get the path and I can view the object, how data is coming. So here I get all the required information and it gives the data. So this is the path which has to be passed on to a .NET application and called a RESTful service call, and this will fetch the data required. So I have covered how to create a view. Now let's see how to create REST or SOAP service for DML operation. If I want to create any DML operation on object, it should be an individual object. In that case, in this scenario, I am going to take an object called account. I want to create a service, a soap or a web request. I'll say a web request, and then if you see this, okay. If I see, I get all the methods. So if you see insert, I will have input parameters. What are the input values I can pass? If I don't want the input parameter, I can drop the required columns. Likewise for delete also, if I don't want mm, all the parameters to pass the value, I can drop the columns not required. And then okay, I need to give a name. I'll give it as demo. So once I give this, okay, I just because already exists, that's the reason it comes. And then I have to deploy this. Once it is deployed, I get a link, go to the things, and I can see the request. So request and it will method. This is what it has to be passed on to the .NET code to call. Okay, the URL and the methods has to be passed to the thing. Likewise, you can do it for SOAP as well as and RESTful service. And that completes how to create a RESTful SOAP service or table operation. Now let's see how to create a connection to heterogeneous database. Heterogeneous database is nothing but multiple database connection. So already we know how to create a connection for MySQL. Likewise, I want to create for Oracle or SQL Server. I can go ahead and choose a data source, and I can choose any of the option. I'll choose JDBC, and I can provide the information. In this scenario, I'll use SQL Server. So already have a connectivity established. So I'll just edit and show you how what are the information required to be passed. So in this, a name of the connection, and then the database adapter, and then the drivers, JDBC driver for SQL Server. And in the database URI, you give the server name, port, database name, and then the database credential to connect. And then say okay, it lists all the databases within the server. Once that is done, now if I want to create a view between heterogeneous database, that is an object from a SQL Server, an object from MySQL, and I'm going to join. In that scenario, go new and join. And here what I'm going to do is I'm going to take an object from SQL Server and another object from MySQL, and I'm going to create a relationship. Rest all remains the same how you create a join on a database or a heterogeneous database. Here I can provide all the information required, and then I can give a name to it, and then I say okay. Since output name cannot be same for all columns, we have to give a different names. And then you have all the options like what we saw for the normal view, and I can go ahead and create it as a RESTful or a SOAP service. Once I create it, I can see the columns which are there at data type, and then I can see the object, deploy it. Once I deploy it, I get the URL path and I can browse the information. Okay, so I have the information here. We have covered how to connect to heterogeneous database, how to create a V1 heterogeneous database. Now let's see how we can create a call to store procedure. So in that scenario, so I'm going to create a new call to a store procedure. In this scenario, what we need to do is we need to select the database and then say create a data service. Open the databases and select the database and say create database view from query. Here I'm going to give a name for it, sp underscore call, and I will say here call the database and the sp underscore insert acc, and I'm going to give the parameter. If I have the parameter, I can give the parameters, and then I say okay. If I want to test it, I can test it by passing a value. So this method has okay, and these are the written objects, and then I can publish using a RESTful or a SOAP service. Okay, and if I don't want the parameters to be called, I can drop this so that it will not be as an output parameter. I created, now I need to deploy this object. I click on this, I get the call here. This is the call. Okay, and then now, so I got all the features what we are discussed. Now let's understand how we can use these services and consume it in .NET application so that we can make a call from the front end. So I don't have a sample, but I can go through the code and show you those code snippet which are captured. So here invoking REST or SOAP service for from .NET. Here we have a RESTful service created for a DML operation, and the view is available in the link, and these are the methods which has been exported by the service. We the URL which we got it is the one which we have to provide in the as the link, and then this method are exposed and you can call this. Likewise, for a swap request, the same thing. We create a reference of the URL and put it under in the .NET, and this method not exposed. Likewise, for a store procedure, in this I have created four different varieties of store procedure. One is a single simple store procedure, basically without any parameters. Another one with parameters, and the third one is with a store procedure which has an insert, which will make insert into the database. And next store procedure is insert data and also return some output. So this is how we can make call using .NET, and this is using SOAP for store procedure. We create the reference and then make a call in the .NET code. And I have few links mentioned in this presentation, and this is one good link which I found on the Denodo community, where it talks in detail about how Denodo can be used. And also Denodo as a community site where we can post our request if we have anything. And this covers few of the features which I have worked on Denodo. Also, this presentation and the video as well as the code base which we are used will be shared, and you can have a look at it in case you have, if you want to. And that's it about this particular demo. Thank you.